Hello everybody, welcome to the Actors Academy. Today we're going to be talking about part 2 of how to find and get the agency. So we went through and we already had all of part 1. So remember, part 1 talked about finding the agent. Part 2 here is going to be talking about how to get the agent. Remember, they're two different things. You can't put them both together. This is something that people sometimes mix up. Finding the agency is one thing that you have to do because you have to know which agency do you think will represent you best. An agency that will represent you great may not represent me great. I might be looking for different things. There may be different variables involved. You have to do your research and find which one you want. So that was part 1. If you haven't watched part 1, go back and watch part 1. Part 1 will also show you how to go through that process of also finding the agencies, which platforms you can use to actually find which agencies are around in different areas that they're in. That will be a big help and benefit to you. Today, though, we're going to be talking about how you can now go and start trying to get the agent, how you can get that meeting with them. Because just because you find the agency, that's great. That's the first step. But you also have to find out, okay, now how do I have a meeting with them? How do I get them to represent me? So what you're going to have to do is we're going to have to go through this process of sending in our resume, our headshot, and a cover letter. These are going to be the 3 things that we're going to be sending off to the agent. Through this process, hopefully, if you do it well, they will like it. They'll like your cover letter, they'll like your headshot, they'll like your resume, and they will bring you in. So then you go and you actually meet with them in person and you can talk and interact with them because they still have to know you on a human level. You can't just send in, your application basically and say, okay, hey, please represent me. Well, they have to meet with you and they have to know who you are. They have to know, are you the right fit for them? Are they the right fit for you? There's a few different variables that get involved with that. So this is going to be the process that you're going to have to go through. The first thing that we're going to be talking about is the resumes. The resume is one of the biggest things that you're going to have as an actor. It's going to be one of the first things that you're going to be submitting first to the agent because you're going to try and get them to represent you. But even after that point, any audition that you go to, you always have to bring your headshot and your resume. Even if they don't always ask, 90% of the time you're going to want to have your headshot and resume with you. Because when you bring your headshot and resume, 1, it makes you look a little bit more professional, and 2, it also helps casting know, oh, okay, this is your headshot, this is what you look like, and after you go through the day and you leave and you've done your audition and they're going through 100 other actors, they have your resume to go and look back on and say, oh, I remember this person, I like this person. They usually will make notes on your resume whether or not they liked what you did so they can remember you. The resume is something that I get asked about all the time. With this resume, you're basically going to be putting all the information of everything that you've done, from all your theater work, to your plays, to your movies, TV shows, commercials, training. You're going to want to put training if you've had any training on there. Special skills. Special skills refers to things like if you play sports, if you play music, if you can do magic tricks, if you juggle, whatever you have that's a special skill that not a lot of other people can do, you want to put that on your resume. Now, don't make it gross. Like if you have some weird special toe thing that you can do, you probably don't want to put that on there. I think that's an obvious point. But there's some people, who might think, oh, okay, well, this is a skill I have, I'm going to put it on there. No, don't do that. It's really weird. When it comes to these resumes, the important thing is, because you already know really what a resume is, you're going to put all your information down. If you've ever had to apply for a job before and you're turning in your resume, you know what a resume is. You're putting down all the information. Any plays you've been in, any commercials you've done, any movies you've done, you're putting that all together. One of the things that's really tricky, though, and this is what actors usually mess up on and why their resumes will look sloppy, is because a lot of actors go through the process of creating their own resumes. This is a factor because there's not many options for the actors. So they go through, they create their resume, and it looks kind of okay. There's a certain template that sometimes works better than others, but they go through and they create their resume. Besides that point, they also have to cut their resume. So a standard piece of paper is 8.5 by 11. Your headshot, though, is going to be 8 by 10. Now your resume has to go on the back of your headshot. Now the reason that this is tricky is because your paper has to be the exact same size as your headshot. It can't be smaller, it can't be bigger, and already it's starting off bigger. So what actors will have to do is they have to go and they have to cut their resume so it's a little bit smaller. So they still have all the information on it, but the extra white space that's on the left, on the right, on the bottom, and on the top, they have to go through and cut that out so then they can staple it on the back of their headshot. It's not a pretty process and it's not that fun. One of the things that I did to try and help you guys, if you guys want as a resource, is I've created 10 completed, ready-to-go resume templates. All you have to do is just fill in the information. 90% of the work has already been done for you. All you have to do is go in and put the other 10%. There's 10 total resume templates. This is one of them. Now, if you don't like, say, this one, right? Let's call this template number 5, right? If you don't like template number 5, maybe you'll love template number 7, or maybe it'll be template number 1. Each one is different to suit the actor for whatever they're going for. Now, remember, these are completely editable. You can edit every single thing on this resume. Now, one of the other nice things about this is everything has been layered into the right spot of this page, the correct spot, where right here, if you can see, there's this little scissor. It shows you where to cut the resume. So everything has already been proportioned into the exact spot. So all you have to do is literally 10% of work. You go, you type in all your information, and then it shows you on here where to cut your resume. You cut it here, and you cut it here, and then you're done. You don't have to go through the normal process would be, okay, you cut a little bit off here, you cut a little bit off here, then you'd have here, and you're trying to make it all nice, clean, and perfect. And what you ultimately end up doing is making your resume look sloppy because you're going to have weird cuts here and there. It's not going to line up properly. So, as a resource, if you want this, it will be down in the description below underneath the 10-hour acting masterclass. Now, is this the only option that you have? No, it's just a resource that you have if you want these. There's going to be 10 total resume templates. And you'll see with these ones, it's going to be $10, so basically it's $1 for each template. It's super, super cheap. So if you want this, it's going to be down in the description below. It's just a resource that you have that you can use if you want it, if it will help you. Again, 90% of the work is done. All you have to do is just the 10% left. All right, number 2, what we're going to be talking about is the headshot. Again, headshot's really important. We're going to be combining and putting our headshot and resumes together. Headshot's in the front, resume is going to be stapled onto the back. This is going to be a lot of what you're going to be sending out to casting directors. If you have the opportunity to get a meeting with this agency, you're also going to want to give them your headshot and your resume because it also shows them how you're going to behave when you go out for your auditions. Now, the important thing with this headshot, if your headshot does not look at all professional, they're not going to call you in. If your headshot was taken with your phone, you got out your phone and you took a picture and you think, oh, okay, this is great, it doesn't work. But what I do want to talk about is how you can save some money with this headshot. So headshots normally are going to cost you around $500 to $1,000. Sometimes maybe you could find it for $300. It's a lot of money. And the total amount of headshots that they give you, the standard amount is 3. They give you 3 headshots for $500. That's crazy to me. It costs way too much money, and it's not an avenue that you have to go down. It's an option. It's always an option, and you know it's an option, you know it's there. You can spend $500 to get 3 pictures. But it sucks to pay $500 to get 3 pictures, especially if you do not like the headshots. If you start to know more actors and you get an inner circle of actors, you're going to find that a lot of them get multiple headshots over and over and over and over and over, and they're spending tons of money getting new headshots all the time. It's a pricey thing, and I'd rather you guys save your money instead of spending $500 on getting headshots. What you can do in order to save all your money and get your headshots for free is you do this. You either go to a junior college or you go to a university where they have a photography department. All the people in the photography department are learning specifically how to use a camera. Now, the beautiful thing about using a camera is that it's not rocket science. You know, you're not figuring out, okay, what coordinates do we do to be able to get to the moon? All you're doing is you hold the camera, keep it still, you push the button, have good lighting around, don't have too many crazy things in the background. It's super easy. Some people have a little bit more of an eye for it, so when they're in their photography department, you know, they have a little bit more of an eye to get your photo to look the best that they can, but it's not rocket science. Anybody can do it. So the advantage that you have if you go to these places is that they have good cameras and they know how to get the good angles to give you a good headshot. So they will not charge you because they are students and they have class assignments. So one of the things that you can do is offer your services. You can basically be a model and say, hey, I'll help you with some projects that you have if you can in return give me some headshots. So maybe they have to do a landscape photo with a person in it. Then you say, okay, hey, I'll do that with you. Can we get some headshots afterwards though? That would really help me. And then they'll be able to give you headshots and it doesn't cost you anything. And the great thing is there's multiple people within a photography department. So there could be 5 different photographers that you have a session with. Then you get multiple headshots from that instead of going and spending $500 to get just 3 headshots. Now remember, is this the only option? No, you can go and spend $500. You could do both if you want. One thing that I do highly suggest though, especially if you don't have a lot of money, is go down this avenue because they know what they're doing. The photography department, they know what they're doing. The photos are actually good. And you can choose, and you can also use 1 photographer, 2 photographers, 3 photographers. You can keep going back and getting more photos without having to spend $500. All right, point number 3 is going to be the cover letter. So now for this cover letter, it's going to be in the email. So it's going to be in the description of the email that you're going to be writing your cover letter. Some people think that they have to go and send it in through like the post office type of thing. You don't have to. That was what they used to do a long time ago. Now everything is email. Of course, you can do both. You can send some, you go to the post office, send it in an envelope, and then hopefully they get it. Or you can also do it through email. You can do both. The one that you definitely have to include is the one through email because that's what everybody does. And that's just the day that we live in. We have technology. Everyone uses email. So when you're submitting to this agency and you're trying to request yourself saying, hey, you know, I'd like to be a part of this agency, you want to have it be a really simple, short, to the point cover letter. So you want it to be about a paragraph long or less. You don't want it to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 paragraphs. That's way too long. It has to be 1 paragraph or less. And what you're going to do is you're going to write in there and basically say, hey, this is your name, what you're interested in, because, you know, there's different people at the agency. They're going to have either commercial agents or theatrical agents for movies and TV shows, or they have voiceover agents. You have to let them know what you're looking for. So you can say, hey, my name's so-and-so, I'm this years old, you know, I'm really interested in your agency because of A, B, C, and D, and I would like to be represented, you know, theatrically. And then you go through that process. And then maybe you state a little bit in there why they should represent you. What do you have that other people don't have? Why should they hire you compared to someone else that's going to be submitting tomorrow? Why should they pick you? Maybe you're a hard worker. Maybe you have some special talent. I don't know what it is. Everyone has something different. I have something different than what you have. Your next door neighbor has something different than we both have. So you have to know what you have, and that's what you're going to put in the cover letter. But remember, that cover letter in the email description, it has to be either 1 paragraph or less. You don't want to make it too long. So these are going to be the things that you need. You have to have that cover letter, you have to have the headshot, and you have to have the resumes. The resumes is one of the trickier ones because it's just about getting that perfect outline, going through it and having the cuts all in there. Again, if you want the completed, ready-to-use 10 templates, those are going to be down in the description below. It takes like 2 clicks, I think, or 3 clicks until you can basically get them and you have them to use whenever you want. I'm also going to leave down in the description below the 10-hour acting masterclass if you're interested in that. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up if it helped you, and I'll see you guys all next time. See you guys. Bye-bye.